There is a strange truth about power that most people never learn. Power does not always look like having more. Sometimes power looks like needing less. The man who needs everyone to approve of him is not free. The man who needs expensive possessions to feel important is not free. The man who needs constant entertainment cannot tolerate silence. The man who needs to win every argument is controlled by his emotions. The man who needs to be seen, praised, admired, and recognized has handed pieces of his freedom to other people. But the person who can live simply, think clearly, control his desires, and remain content without constantly chasing more, possesses something far more valuable than wealth. He possesses independence. This is one of the great lessons hidden inside Stoic philosophy. The Stoics did not teach that possessions were evil. They did not teach that success was meaningless. They did not teach that a person should deliberately live in misery. They taught something much more powerful. Do not become dependent on things you do not control, and that principle changes everything. Because when your happiness depends on having more, you become a servant of more. More money, more attention, more followers, more possessions, more status, more recognition, more pleasure, more success. And there is never an end to more. The finish line keeps moving. You achieve one goal and immediately another appears. You buy one thing and another becomes desirable. You reach one level of success and suddenly someone else's success makes yours feel insufficient. The modern world is extremely good at creating this problem. It constantly tells you, you need this, you deserve that. You're falling behind. Upgrade. Buy more. Become more impressive. Show people how successful you are. But Stoicism asks a different question. Not, how much can I acquire? But, how little do I actually need to live well? That question is powerful, because the fewer things you believe you need in order to be happy, the harder you become to control. And that is why simplicity is a form of power. Chapter 1. Simplicity is not weakness. Many people misunderstand simplicity. They think simplicity means having no ambition. They think it means being poor. They think it means rejecting success. They think it means living without comfort. But simplicity is not the rejection of success. It is the rejection of unnecessary dependence. There is a difference. A Stoic can own a beautiful house without believing that the house determines his worth. A Stoic can have money without becoming obsessed with money. A Stoic can enjoy luxury without becoming psychologically dependent upon luxury. A Stoic can become successful without needing strangers to validate that success. The issue is not what you possess. The issue is what possesses you. That distinction is incredibly important. Imagine two wealthy men. The first has millions in the bank, but he is terrified of losing his lifestyle. He constantly compares himself to richer people. He cannot sleep because the market moved against him. He needs expensive cars to feel respected. He needs people to know how successful he is. He needs constant admiration. The second man has the same wealth, but he can live comfortably without needing to display it. He does not care whether strangers are impressed. He can drive an ordinary car. He can spend an evening without entertainment. He can lose some possessions without losing himself. Which man is more powerful? The first has more possessions, but the second has more freedom. That is the Stoic definition of strength. Not simply having the ability to acquire, but having the ability to remain stable when acquisition disappears. Chapter 2. The more you need, the more you can be controlled. Think about your own life. Every desire creates a potential point of control. If you desperately need praise, someone can control you with criticism. If you desperately need money, someone can control you with financial incentives. If you desperately need status, someone can control you with social approval. If you desperately need comfort, discomfort can control you. If you desperately need pleasure, boredom can control you. If you desperately need attention, silence can torment you. This is why simplicity is powerful. Every unnecessary dependency is another chain. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus emphasized that freedom comes from understanding what is truly within your control and refusing to make external things the foundation of your peace. Think about that. If your peace depends on something outside your control, you have built your peace on unstable ground. The weather changes, markets change, people change, opinions change, relationships change, opportunities change. Your physical appearance changes, your income can change, your social position can change, but your character remains yours. Your choices remain yours. Your judgment remains yours. Your response remains yours. That is where the Stoic builds his foundation. Not on things that can disappear, but on things he can govern. Chapter 3. The Trap of Constantly Wanting More. There is nothing wrong with ambition, but ambition without discipline becomes greed. And greed has a strange characteristic. It does not tell you when enough is enough. A person can have 10 and want 20. Then 20 becomes insufficient. He wants 50. 50 becomes normal. Then he wants 100. The problem is not the number. The problem is the mind. If the mind has never learned contentment, no external number will satisfy it. Seneca repeatedly explored this problem. He understood that poverty is not simply the absence of possessions. A person can possess little and still be rich in spirit. Another can possess enormous wealth and still feel poor. Why? Because wealth is not only determined by what you have, it is influenced by what you believe you need. This is why simplicity begins inside the mind. You can have a large bank account and still live mentally like a starving man, always chasing, always comparing, always fearing, always wanting, always looking at the next person, always asking, what do they have that I don't? The Stoic asks, what do I actually need? That question can save you years of unnecessary suffering. Chapter 4. Simplicity creates clarity. A complicated life creates a complicated mind. Too many commitments, too many possessions, too many distractions, too many relationships, too many goals, too many notifications, too many opinions, too many voices. Eventually, you can no longer hear yourself think. Modern life rewards stimulation. Stoicism rewards clarity. Imagine trying to see through a dirty window. The outside world has not necessarily become darker. The window has simply become crowded with dirt. Your mind can work the same way. Sometimes you do not need more information. You need less noise. You do not need another motivational video. You need to act on what you already know. You do not need another business idea. You need to execute the one you already have. You do not need another productivity system. You need to stop wasting your time. Simplicity removes noise, and when noise disappears, priorities become visible. You begin asking, what actually matters? What deserves my attention? What deserves my energy? What am I doing simply because everyone else is doing it? What am I chasing because I genuinely value it? And what am I chasing because I am afraid of feeling insignificant? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they are liberating. Chapter 5. The Stoic Practice of Wanting Less. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is deliberately becoming comfortable with having less. Not because you hate comfort, but because you want to know that you can survive without it. Seneca famously practiced periods of voluntary simplicity. He would deliberately expose himself to conditions that were less comfortable than his normal life. Why? To train his mind. He wanted to be able to say, is this what I was afraid of? That is psychological freedom. You voluntarily experience small amounts of discomfort so that discomfort does not become your master. You can practice this today. Take a walk without your phone. Eat a simple meal. Spend an evening without entertainment. Wear ordinary clothes without worrying about impressing anyone. Go somewhere without documenting it. Spend time alone. Delay a purchase. Sleep without needing constant stimulation. None of these things are punishments. They are exercises. You are teaching your mind, I can be okay without immediately getting what I want. That sentence is incredibly powerful, because impulse is one of the greatest enemies of freedom. Chapter 6. Simplicity and Money. Money reveals whether a person understands simplicity. A person who earns more but immediately increases his lifestyle may not actually be becoming wealthier. He may simply be increasing his expenses. The Stoic approach to money is different. Money is useful. Money can provide security. Money can create opportunities. Money can help you support your family. Money can allow you to invest. Money can give you greater freedom, but money becomes dangerous when your identity becomes attached to it. If every increase in income immediately creates 10 new desires, you are not becoming financially free. You are becoming financially dependent on maintaining a particular lifestyle. This is why lifestyle inflation is dangerous. You get a raise. You upgrade the car. You move into a bigger house. You increase your entertainment. You buy more expensive clothes. You increase your subscriptions. You start spending more. Soon the income that once seemed abundant becomes insufficient. Then you need another raise. And another. And another. Your income rises, but your freedom does not. Simplicity breaks this cycle. When your income increases, you do not automatically increase every desire. You allow some of the increase to become savings. Some becomes investment. Some becomes generosity. Some becomes opportunity. And some can simply remain unused. That unused capacity is freedom. Chapter 7. Simplicity makes you harder to impress. There is another form of power that comes from simplicity. You become difficult to manipulate through status. Think about advertising. Advertising often works by creating dissatisfaction. It tells you, your current phone isn't enough. Your clothes aren't impressive enough. Your car isn't luxurious enough. Your house isn't modern enough. Your lifestyle isn't exciting enough. The message is always, you are incomplete. Buy something. But the person who has developed contentment becomes difficult to sell insecurity to. He can look at something expensive and say, it's beautiful, but I don't need it. That sentence represents enormous strength, because the ability to say no is one of the foundations of freedom. You don't need to reject everything. You simply need the ability to choose. Chapter 8. The power of owning less. Every possession has a hidden cost. You have to maintain it, protect it, clean it, store it, repair it, think about it, sometimes insure it, sometimes replace it, sometimes worry about losing it. Possessions can make life easier, but too many possessions can create invisible obligations. Imagine a man with hundreds of unnecessary things. Now imagine another man with only what he actually uses. Who has greater mobility? Who can move more easily? Who can travel more easily? Who can change direction more easily? Who has less to worry about? The second man. Simplicity creates mobility, and mobility is power. A person who is not heavily attached to possessions can make decisions that another person cannot. He can move. He can change careers. He can relocate. He can take a calculated risk. He can walk away. Why? Because he has not built a prison around himself. Chapter 9. Simplicity in relationships. Simplicity also applies to relationships. Not every person deserves unlimited access to your attention. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every insult deserves your anger. Not every opinion deserves your consideration. The Stoic learns to simplify his social world. This does not mean becoming antisocial. It means becoming intentional. Ask yourself, who makes me better? Who consistently brings chaos? Who respects my boundaries? Who only appears when they need something? Who encourages virtue? Who encourages impulsiveness? Who helps me think clearly? The Stoic does not need hundreds of friends. He needs a few relationships built on character. Depth is more valuable than quantity. Chapter 10. The power of saying no. Every powerful person eventually learns this. You cannot say yes to everything. Every yes costs something. Yes to one commitment can mean no to another. Yes to endless entertainment means no to focused work. Yes to unnecessary spending means no to financial security. Yes to every social event means no to solitude. Yes to every argument means no to peace. Yes to every opportunity means no to priorities. Your life is shaped by what you refuse. This is why the ability to say no is a Stoic skill. No to impulse. No to unnecessary conflict. No to vanity. No to comparison. No to excessive consumption. No to distractions. No to people who constantly violate your principles. No to the version of success that requires you to become someone you do not respect. Saying no creates space, and space creates freedom. Chapter 11. simplicity and focus. A scattered person has difficulty becoming excellent. Why? Because excellence requires concentration. Imagine sunlight. Normal sunlight is warm, but focus it through a magnifying glass and it becomes capable of producing intense heat. Your attention works similarly. Scattered attention creates ordinary results. Focused attention creates extraordinary results. This is why the Stoic protects his attention. He knows that attention is one of his most valuable resources. Your attention is your life. Where your attention goes, your life goes. If you spend hours watching other people's lives, you have less time to build your own. If you spend hours arguing online, you have less energy for meaningful work. If you spend hours comparing yourself to strangers, you have less energy for improving yourself. Simplicity means reducing the number of things competing for your attention. Chapter 12. Simplicity makes decision-making easier. A complicated life creates decision fatigue. What should I buy? Where should I go? What should I wear? What should I watch? Who should I impress? What should I post? What should I respond to? What should I do next? The more unnecessary choices you create, the more mental energy you consume. This is why simple routines can be powerful. Wake up, know your priorities, do your important work, exercise, eat reasonably, spend time with people who matter, reflect, rest, sleep, repeat. This might sound boring to someone addicted to stimulation, but there is enormous power in predictable discipline. You stop negotiating with yourself every morning. You already know what matters. Chapter 13. Simplicity and emotional control. The simpler your desires, the easier your emotions become to manage. Consider anger. Why do people become angry? Often because reality violated an expectation. Someone did not respect you. Someone disagreed with you. Someone rejected you. Someone interrupted your plans. The Stoic asks, did reality violate my rights? Or did reality simply fail to match my expectations? That question creates distance. Simplicity means having fewer unnecessary expectations. You stop demanding that everyone behave according to your preferences. You stop expecting life to be fair all the time. You stop expecting every plan to succeed. You stop expecting everyone to like you. You stop expecting comfort. And because expectations become more realistic, emotional reactions become less extreme. You become harder to disturb. Chapter 14. Simplicity in speech. There is power in speaking less. Not because silence is always better, but because unnecessary words often create unnecessary problems. A person who talks constantly reveals constantly. He explains himself too much, defends himself too much, promises too much, complains too much, gossips too much. The Stoic learns to speak with intention. Say what needs to be said. Say it clearly. Then stop. You do not need to win every conversation. You do not need the last word. You do not need to explain every decision. Sometimes the strongest response is calm silence. Not passive aggression. Not silent treatment. Simply restraint. Chapter 15. Simplicity and business. In business, simplicity can become a competitive advantage. Many businesses become complicated because people confuse complexity with sophistication. More products, more features, more processes, more meetings, more layers, more promises. But customers often want something simple, a clear solution, a clear price, a clear benefit, a clear experience. The same principle applies to leadership. A good leader can explain complicated problems simply. A weak leader hides behind complicated language. Simplicity is not the absence of intelligence. It is often the result of understanding something deeply enough to explain it clearly. This is why Stoic thinking can be useful in business. Identify what matters. Ignore what does not. Control what you can. Accept what you cannot. Act according to principle. Do not let ego complicate decisions. That is simplicity applied to strategy. Chapter 16. Simplicity and Masculinity. There is a version of masculinity built around proving. Prove you are strong. Prove you are rich. Prove you are important. Prove you are respected. Prove you are desirable. Prove you are dominant. But the more a man needs to prove himself, the less secure he often becomes. Real strength becomes quieter. The mature man does not need to announce every achievement. He does not need everyone to know what he owns. He does not need to respond to every challenge. He understands that discipline is more important than appearance. Character is more important than reputation. Self-respect is more important than applause. Simplicity strips away performance. What remains is character. Chapter 17. Stop turning life into a performance. Social media has made performance incredibly easy. You can construct an image of yourself, show your best moments, hide your failures, display your possessions, show your achievements, create the appearance of a perfect life. But the Stoic asks, who are you when nobody is watching? That is the real question. Because there are two versions of success. External success, what people think you are, and internal success, who you actually are. The first depends on perception. The second depends on character. Simplicity means caring more about the second. You do not need to document everything. You do not need to announce every goal. You do not need to prove every achievement. Sometimes it is enough to live quietly, deliberately, with purpose. Chapter 18. Simplicity creates resilience. Imagine two people. One requires perfect conditions to function. The temperature must be comfortable. The schedule must be perfect. Everyone must respect him. Everything must go according to plan. The second person can adapt. Things go wrong. He adjusts. Plans change. He adapts. Money becomes tight. He simplifies. Someone criticizes him. He reflects. An opportunity disappears. He searches for another. Who is stronger? The second, because resilience comes from reducing dependence on perfect circumstances. This is one of the deepest lessons of Stoicism. You do not control the world. You control how you meet the world. Simplicity strengthens that ability. Chapter 19. Voluntary discomfort. If you want to become powerful, occasionally choose discomfort. Take the stairs. Wake up without immediately checking your phone. Delay gratification. Eat simply. Work when you do not feel motivated. Sit quietly. Have difficult conversations. Spend less than you could. Train your body. Control your tongue. Do something difficult without telling everyone. Why? Because comfort can become addictive, and addiction creates weakness. The purpose of voluntary discomfort is not suffering for its own sake. It is preparation. You are telling yourself, I can handle discomfort. I do not need immediate pleasure. I can wait. I can endure. I can choose discipline over impulse. That mindset makes you difficult to control. Chapter 20. Simplicity and freedom. At its deepest level, simplicity is about freedom. Freedom from unnecessary desire. Freedom from comparison. Freedom from excessive consumption. Freedom from approval. Freedom from constant stimulation. Freedom from emotional dependence. Freedom from pretending. Freedom from trying to impress people who are not responsible for your life. Imagine waking up and realizing, you don't need to prove yourself today. You don't need to impress anyone. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to respond to every message. You don't need to win every argument. You don't need to chase every opportunity. You simply need to live according to your principles. That is freedom. Chapter 21. What the Stoics would ask you. Imagine Marcus Aurelius sitting alone at the end of a difficult day. He has power. He has responsibility. He has enemies. He has political problems. He has personal struggles. And yet the Stoic response is not, how can I control everything? It is, what is required of me? That question simplifies life. What is required of me today? To act with justice, to exercise courage, to control my impulses, to perform my responsibilities, to accept what I cannot change, to treat others with dignity, to improve myself. That's enough. You do not need to solve your entire life today. You need to live today's responsibilities well. Chapter 22. The difference between simple and easy. Do not confuse simplicity with ease. A simple life can be difficult. It is simple to say, I will live according to my principles, but difficult to do. It is simple to say, I will control my desires, but difficult when temptation appears. It is simple to say, I will not seek approval, but difficult when people criticize you. It is simple to say, I will accept what I cannot control, but difficult when reality disappoints you. Simplicity removes excuses. Once you know what matters, you can no longer hide behind complexity. The path becomes clear, and because the path is clear, your responsibility becomes greater. Chapter 23: How to Simplify Your Life. So how do you actually apply this philosophy? Start with your possessions. Ask, do I use this? Does this improve my life? Would I buy it again today? If not, consider removing it. Then simplify your finances. Know where your money goes. Reduce unnecessary expenses. Avoid buying things primarily to impress others. Build financial margin. Then simplify your schedule. Look at everything you have committed to. What actually matters? Remove unnecessary obligations. Then simplify your digital life. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Unfollow accounts that constantly create envy or anger. Stop consuming information simply because it is available. Then simplify your relationships. Spend more time with people who bring out your better qualities. Then simplify your goals. You do not need 20 major goals. Choose a few and execute. Then simplify your mind. Spend time alone. Reflect. Journal. Think. Ask yourself, what am I chasing? Why am I chasing it? What would happen if I stopped? Those questions can reveal more than another 100 motivational speeches. Chapter 24: The Stoic Definition of Enough. One of the most powerful words in the Stoic vocabulary is enough. Enough does not mean you stop growing. It means you stop believing that growth requires permanent dissatisfaction. You can improve without hating yourself. You can become wealthier without believing you are poor. You can become stronger without believing you are weak. You can become more successful without believing your current life is worthless. Enough means, I can appreciate what I have while still working toward what I want. That is balance. And balance is strength. Chapter 25. Your life becomes powerful when it becomes intentional. A simple life is not an empty life. It is an intentional life. You remove what does not matter so you can give more energy to what does. You remove distractions so you can focus. You remove unnecessary desires so you can save. You remove unnecessary conflict so you can maintain peace. You remove unnecessary possessions so you can move freely. You remove unnecessary commitments so you can fulfill important responsibilities. You remove unnecessary words so your important words carry weight. You remove unnecessary dependence so you can become free. This is the real power of simplicity. It does not make your life smaller. It makes your life more concentrated. Chapter 26. The Final Test. One day, everything external will change. Your possessions will change. Your income will change. Your appearance will change. Your social position will change. Your circumstances will change. People will come and go. Opportunities will appear and disappear. The only question is, what remains when everything external changes? Your character, your judgment, your discipline, your ability to choose, your ability to respond, your values, your principles. That is why the Stoics focused so heavily on character, because character is what remains when circumstances are stripped away, and simplicity helps you discover that character. Conclusion: the power of needing less. The world will always tell you to want more. More money, more attention, more possessions, more followers, more status, more pleasure, more recognition. But the Stoic asks, what if the real path to power is learning to need less? Imagine becoming the person who does not need constant approval. Imagine becoming the person who can sit alone without feeling lonely. Imagine becoming the person who can lose possessions without losing himself. Imagine becoming the person who can receive criticism without collapsing. Imagine becoming the person who can experience discomfort without immediately escaping. Imagine becoming the person who can walk away from unnecessary conflict. Imagine becoming the person who can say no to temptation. Imagine becoming the person who can earn money without worshipping it. Imagine becoming the person who can enjoy luxury without depending on it. Imagine becoming the person who can live simply and still feel deeply fulfilled. That person is difficult to control because he does not need much from the world. He needs only the opportunity to live according to his principles. That is power, not the power to control other people, the power to control yourself. And perhaps that is the greatest form of power available to a human being. You do not need to own everything. You do not need to experience everything. You do not need everyone to like you. You do not need everyone to understand you. You do not need to win every battle. You do not need to chase every opportunity. You do not need to satisfy every desire. You need clarity. You need discipline. You need character. You need purpose. And you need the courage to say, "This is enough." Not because you have given up on life, but because you have finally stopped asking life to prove your worth. The Stoic does not measure his greatness by how much he can accumulate. He measures it by how little he must depend upon. The world may become more complicated. Your life does not have to. The world may become louder. You can become quieter. The world may tell you to chase more. You can choose enough. The world may tell you that power means controlling others. You can choose self-control. The world may tell you that success means having more. You can choose freedom. And when you learn to live with less, think with less noise, want with greater discipline, speak with greater intention, spend with greater wisdom, and depend less on external things, you discover something extraordinary. You were never truly powerful because you had more. You become powerful when you need less to remain yourself. That is the Stoic way. That is the power of simplicity. And that is a form of power that no one can take from you.